Welcome to Financial Buzz Market Weekly. I'm RK Walker here at the New York Stock Exchange, bringing you a review of this week's stock market. On Monday, markets tumbled as fallout from the U.S. China trade situation intensified. China retaliated by raising tariffs on $60 billion worth of U.S. imports starting on June 1st. American farmers were hit hard, and shares of Caterpillar, Boeing, Micron Technology, and Apple all fell sharply. The Dow Industrials closed 617 points lower. On Tuesday, import prices for April rose 0.2%, while export prices also rose 0.2%. Markets rebounded slightly after President Trump made some tweets that held out hope that a deal with China can be reached. The Dow Industrials rose 207 points, and 10-year Treasuries yielded 2.41%. On Wednesday, retail sales for April declined 0.2% compared to the prior month's 1.7% gain, and the Empire State Manufacturing Survey for May shot up 7.7 points to 17.8. Industrial production for April declined 0.5% compared to the prior month's 0.2% gain, and the EIA Petroleum Status Report for the week ending May 10th saw crude oil inventory gain 5.4 million barrels. The housing market index for May rose 3 points to 66, and business inventories for March remain unchanged. Markets rose on reports that President Trump will delay implementation of auto tariffs by up to 6 months, with the Dow Industrials finishing up 115 points. On Thursday, housing starts for April rose 5.7% to an annualized 1.235 million units, and jobless claims for the week ending May 11th declined 16,000 to 212,000. President Trump made it difficult for U.S. companies to do business with Huawei, the large Chinese telecom company, due to national security concerns. Despite the potential for this action to increase trade tensions, markets rose strongly, with the Dow Industrials closing 214 points higher. On Friday, consumer sentiment for May rose 5.2 points to 102.4, a 15-year high. Despite the good news, U.S. China trade tensions dragged down markets at the open. Now let's take a look at some stocks. Aurora Cannabis reported its third quarter results after market close on Tuesday, with larger than expected losses of 16 Canadian cents per share on revenue of 75 million Canadian. And analysts were estimating a loss of 5 cents Canadian per share. Aurora's gross revenue surged by 367% year over year, primarily led by the increase in its consumer base, with the Canadian consumer market rising 37%, the Canadian medical market rising 8%, and the international medical market surging 40%. Aurora shares slid 6% on the news. Alibaba Group Holding Limited reported earnings of RMB 8.57 per share on revenue of RMB 95.3 billion, exceeding analyst estimates. At the end of the quarter, Alibaba reported that annual active customers reached 654 million, an 18% increase year over year. Meanwhile, mobile monthly active users reached 721 million, increasing by 22 million year over year. Shares rose 1.5% on the news. Cisco Systems reported its third quarter results after market close on Wednesday. The company exceeded expectations on both top and bottom lines, reporting earnings of 78 cents per share on revenue of almost 13 billion. Cisco's net revenue rose by 6% year over year, primarily driven by growth across its business segments. Cisco's product revenue increased by 7% to 9.7 billion, while service revenue rose by 3% year over year to 3.2 billion. Pinterest reported its first quarter results on Tuesday, coming in with an earnings loss of 32 cents per share on revenue of almost 202 million. Analysts expected earnings of 11 cents per share. Net losses for the company increased by 21% year over year. However, monthly active users grew to 291 million, increasing by 22% year over year. NVIDIA Corporation reported its first quarter results on Thursday. Despite declining revenues, NVIDIA surpassed analyst estimates, sending shares 6% higher during extended trading hours. For the quarter, NVIDIA reported earnings of 88 cents per share on revenue of 2.2 billion. NVIDIA mentioned that revenue fell by 31% year over year, primarily due to the decline within NVIDIA's data center and OEM segments. This is Financial Buzz Market Weekly. I'm RK Walker, and I'll see you again next week.